kids. Out with the Hitchcock down. Can I get that now? Can I get that now? Cause I ain't got time for a wristwatch. Poltergeist, I'm open nice. I roll the dice. It's lust and love. It's guts and blood. It's smeared the screen. Hearing me, fear the ping, hear the scream.
All right. We are recording. We are recording. We are recording.
Yes, sir.
That you just heard right there is Nocturnal. And forgive me if I'm taking you back to 2015. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest here at Lessons Learned ATW. Yes, week after week, I bring special guests. Guest after guest, you learn something new. Lessons learned. That's the goal. That's the mantra, as y'all may know. But today, it's extra special because this person I have been watching for maybe 6 years. And I've been seeing his progression and his ascendance to where he's at based off those 6 years. The song we were playing right there, I said Nocturnal. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Chicago is very on. Midwest is very on. XVRHLDY. What's up, Xavier?
Yo, what's the word, man? How you feeling?
Man, I'm geeked. I'm happy as hell, man. Like I'm smiling from end to end because I have an artist that I admire, artist that inspired me. You know, when I was coming up with my own, and people that my viewership, my listenership know that I create too, but like even in that midst of creation, or in that process of creation, we all have that artist that we look to see what they're doing and how are they moving. And you are one of those artists.
Wow,
you know,
that.
and you know, to even not even slight your introduction, this artist here, like Xavier, has been on Pitchfork. He has been on the Source magazine. He has been on Complex. I mean, he has. I have to toot your horn a little louder. Let me toot it a little louder, okay?
I feel you.
He has had 800K YouTube views on his products that he has put out, videos, anything. He's 800K plus. I didn't add the plus. And signed, and he has had 1 million plays plus on his SoundCloud. This is a hard-working man right here. Xavier, share with us your history, your beginnings, your inception, and what makes you you.
Well, yeah, that was a hell of an introduction. I appreciate it.
I know I had to go in like that.
That's love. Cause I don't usually like toot my horn like that unless it's like asked of me, but I appreciate that for real. As far as my background and my history, I'm from the west side of Chicago. I went to high school in Oak Park. So I got my degree at Roosevelt University, downtown Chicago.
So you got a degree, like you got a degree. Wow.
Oh yes, sir. I got
you one of them smart ass
psychology.
Dudes. Oh wow.
Yeah, for real. So I got the best of both worlds. You feel me? Like I grew up in the hood, and then I got the chance to be in a more affluent environment. So like we coming from the west side, like around North Avenue, right, to Oak Park and River Forest, to $2 million, $3 million mansions at River Forest and Oak Park, you know. So I just got the best of both worlds. So I'm well rounded in that aspect. I've always been a fan of art. To be honest, like art and film was my first loves. And music and writing, it came later. It just was it had an easier access point than like getting into film. You know what I'm saying? You could just write. If you want to do music, you start out by writing, being inspired and writing. So that was easier for me. So that's really the path that I took. And yeah, that's my history as far as that go, how I got involved in music. I was a kid that just liked writing and liked describing nature, like describing things in an artistic way, like how I was feeling. And that's how it started. And I was just blessed enough to be good at it, and we're here. A few
Man.
publications later, a few concerts, a few plane rides later, we here.
A few signatures somewhere later.
You said what?
A few signatures on a paper later. It's never got to that.
It has low key. I turned down 2 record deals actually.
Okay.
A lot of people, like, unless you know me, like, I haven't broadcasted that as much.
Of course, a artist of your capability and your reach, of course, people have to have come in wanting what you have.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
I don't want to say it like that because it makes me sound like I'm against the industry. It's
no, I know what you mean.
It's maybe a mutual partnership, I guess.
That's for artists who like are aware of how things should go. Yes, it should always be a mutual partnership. But often cases, as we see, the labels aren't your friends.
Absolutely.
And they out for profit. And I get it. It's a business.
It's a business.
So that's what they're in it for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I turned down a couple of record deals because they just wasn't. I didn't feel like it was the right thing for me to do, and I'm actually pleased with it because I got to a point with my last project. I was able to, with the fan base that I built, I was able to distribute it on a direct to fan basis. So I set up my own website. I did my own distribution. Did partner with one of my homies from my high school, Sal, to do the merch. And I was surprised at the response I got, honestly, because a lot of people was fucking with it and buying it. And I just had to explain it to my listeners, like, yo, y'all fuck with me, right? And if you look at how these streaming sites have the metrics set up for artists, like, we get pennies, like a fraction of a penny for a stream, right? So are you listening to the artist because you want the streaming site to get paid, or do you fuck with an artist because you fuck with that artist? And
you are digging deep into a topic that I've always wanted to go into.
It's it's crazy.
Where are you into having Apple Music, or are you into having Drake and his newest, and I'm just using Drake as a premier artist, right? Or a XVRHLDY, XVRHLDY, right? If you're having XVRHLDY, are you into having Spotify and Apple Music in your phone, in your disposable device? Or are you into having the artist that you want and not have someone program you on what playlist that you think is hot? So somebody will be like, because I feel like it's a lazy approach to you going out there and finding the music that you like. Okay, this is the hardest stuff that is popping. So a lazy person okay, let me pull back. I'm getting a lazy consumer benefits from playlists because they don't have to go out there and look for this stuff. A curator predators. They are predators of lazy consumers when it comes to music because they don't understand the climate and the movement of music throughout these days that we have, like days and months and whatever. So music moves up and down, like the different sound in March. I wouldn't even put it monthly based, but it could be every 6 months there's a different stuff changes because it could be geo-economics, it could be political, it could be different stuff. Like right now, that's why I'm surprised hearing and I'm gonna date this episode, hearing what Megan and Cardi put out when we are going through what we are going through when it comes to civil rights. It's hard to listen to WAP, the song they put out, because we are still in that mind state because it's been programmed like that. So the music that we want to hear is based on geopolitical, geo meaning geography, meaning where we are in the United States, and the political. So if you seeing George Floyd getting killed, that's what we want to hear. We don't want to hear you talking about profanity or vulgarity. I mean, that's the classic, and you as a psychologist, you would understand that's the classic way of understanding trends and how we implement and allocate effort when it comes to being creative, because now we stop being pure creators from what we feel. We are now watchers. We are psychology people. We are watching and seeing what's needed. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I feel that. Only thing I don't agree with you with though, I fuck with WAP. I fuck with the song.
You fuck with what?
I ain't gonna lie, I fuck with the song.
Bro,
Cause I like looking at it from an objective standpoint, like, yes, you are correct. At a time like this, as far as like the political climate and how like race tensions are, I would say at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Maybe since like the days of slavery, maybe. Like shit right now is hot, like crazy.
Hot, yeah.
So, yes, you are correct that we do need that. But, and I just tweeted about this, I think like yesterday, I do understand them wanting to talk about what they want to talk about as far as like sexual gratification or however you want to put it. Cause it's male rappers that rap about they dick and fucking and down there every song.
Absolutely.
And I don't see that being as ostracized. You know what I'm saying? Like that's more accepted. But then when a female rapper do it, it's like we want to hear about something different. Well, okay, if that's your argument, cool. But just keep the same energy for male rappers too. You know, I'm not saying it's you. I'm just saying like in general, like. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm not ostracizing their effort and what they're doing. It's just knowing the magnitude of their power and their reach. That's all. You know, I don't see the people that have the equivalence of their power and their reach not using this time and period. Even when I was growing up, my dad always told me Marvin Gaye used to be sing to a girl type of artist, and then when stuff got critical during civil rights, he'd put out what's going on, right? What's going on? You know, sometimes you got to get out of your character and your caricature.
Yeah.
And how the industry is kind of like shaping you up to stand for who you are, and not only who you are, but something that's going to live longer than what you put in. Because I mean, yes, I believe in expression to its fullest. Express yourself on how you want to receive whatever you want to receive, whether it's money, whether it's I'm trying to like broaden this, so give me a second. Money, lessons, whether it's education, whether it's sexual gratification. I mean, express how you want it, express how you want to receive all these different things. But remember, we live in a time where it's climate based, and it's sad to say that.
Yeah.
But pulling away from that, because that was just not even something I was trying to talk about. I was trying to talk about you, XVRHLDY, super lyrical. And you may not give yourself the lyrical credit that you want to, because you may be focusing or zoning in into, I'm a creator, I'm an ultimate creator, I'm an artist, right? But bro, your lyrics, your words, and the power of your words move people, especially me as a listener, right? In this case, I listen to you and I see that you always, whatever you put out really reflects a timestamp in, okay, I'm saying timestamp because it's based off chronology, right? But whatever you put out really puts a footprint in what we are going through at that time. Like if I listen to your songs, let's go back to Nocturnal when I was playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my head as a creator, and this is just me speaking, not the artist's intent, but the person listening, right? I'm thinking of a guy who is busy throughout the daytime, and then he just goes crazy at night writing lyrics and just has to let out this energy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I hear songs like Polaroid, which is a feature, but it meant that it really it was fit in that time, and then fast forwarding it to Solo Flight, where you realize, gosh, I'm coming of age. I'm really coming of age, and it's now getting to the point where I've been dreaming with my eyes closed. I mean, I've been dreaming with my eyes open, and now I'm the only person in this dream. I mean, we always want to say the only person, but we always have our support system. And listening to that, I'm just looking at your timeline. Am I wrong for thinking like that?
No.
And how you print out or you put timestamps on your music to what you're going to.
No, you're absolutely correct. I'm just glad that it translates, because you never, when you're creating something, at least with me, I don't try to force you to feel anything when I create. I just like making what I feel, and then I like for people to interpret it how they want to interpret it. I like to leave it open for discussion, but there is a through line in all of my music, like you just said, like it's like a chronological type thing. And for the people that really listen and they get that means everything to me. That's like when you find Easter eggs in movies, like the people that do recaps on movies and like, if you pay attention to this section and this time, this happens in here and this relates to this scene from the movie before, and like shit like that. I love putting little things like that in my music, and for people to get that and like understand that mean the world to me, man.
Xavier, bro, nothing that you do is accidental, and I noticed that for a long time. Like, it's weirdly how precise you come up with each song. That I'm like, is this a puzzle piece? Even with the recent stuff, I could tie it back to the old stuff, and I'm like, and I'm not saying that maybe it's your Achilles heel too, that you really only serve that core fan base that understands you, and you've never really thought about, because you have been on big platforms, you've worked with big artists, and you've never really thought about, like, you know what, let me just shoot, let me get okay, and this is the wrong, forgive me people that listen from the corporate world, but I'm gonna use street terms. Some people shoot with a shotgun, and some people shoot with distinct bullets. You shoot with distinct bullets.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get too big, or you get to a point where you have a certain following and a certain amount of momentum that you have to use the shotgun approach. The shotgun meaning you transition into having palatable music that fits a certain setting. And forgive me if you correct me if I'm not using the right words, and call me out if I'm not saying you're being commercial. I mean, maybe I'm saying that. What prevented you from getting commercial? Or being that artist to fit every setting?
It didn't. I'm always of the mind that if this doesn't feel right, then you shouldn't be doing it. And I'm like that with everything, in music and in my personal life. Like, if innately I just don't feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, then I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And that's what that felt like. That's what that would have felt like to me. I mean, there are some artists who have found like a happy medium, but just like from what I know about industry standards and like how certain things operate and certain concessions that have to be made and like certain control that has to be relinquished, and like I just didn't feel like that was the path for me. Like, I've always been more of the stay underground but still have that core base that fuck with you, that can still support you.
Yeah.
And that's just what I felt was more me, because I'm a more low-key type nigga anyway. Like,
facts.
I've never wanted to be the face of something. Like, look at me, look what I'm doing, look, I've always been like comparing it to animals, I always do this comparison. Like I've always been more of a bat than a peacock.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I like to chill in the shadows, and when it's time to come out, I fly out and do what I gotta do. And when you see me flying, you know what that is.
Yeah.
You know, that's the type of guy I've been. Like I never been like a peacock that just want to stand there and just like look at me, look what I got going on.
Right.
And yeah, I believe in God. I like to just follow what I feel is right and what I'm guided to do.
I won't lie to you, X. I'm the exact same way. There's a gratification when things find you. There's just a weird fulfillment that I didn't really throw my rock. I just let the universe pull everything, and it was just based off gravitas and people gravitating to you.
That's a fact.
And it's a beauty. But in reality, I had to also look at it like in this way, that reach is all subjective too. Sometimes we think reach is whatever we know, because if you're from the west side of Chicago, your idea of reach is different from somebody in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Their reach may be a few blocks. In your hood, it's a few blocks, but it's exposure too that comes with reach, right? When you understand that sometimes with some of the things that we do, we should not encapsulate them or put them in a compartment called reach, because we put out energy with our music, and some of this energy may manifest today or 20 years from now. And unfortunately, there's a lot of artists living today that are gonna be praised when they die, and it's sad for me to say that, but you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
And sometimes people won't understand that energy that they capsulated of that time. Let it be 2012, let it be 2014, let it be 2015, but they were making career milestones in the whole genre of music, and they were changing the landscape of sound. But people will never understand that until, guess what? Historians have to come clean up the dust and fossilize these artists and say, oh, this is the capstone. This was put out in 2015, whatever, put it in the museum, whatever. And that's my crazy mind thinking about how people like you will be fossilized as a fossil. Fossilized. Am I saying the right word? As a fossil.
Yeah.
Like some dinosaur stuff.
Yeah.
But really, you're the foundation of a lot of things. Things that happened today. I talked to another artist from Louisiana by the name of Swampy Swave Jackson. Reminding me of you too, is you may not know your influence or your sound to the people around you, or the people in the Midwest, or the people in Chicago, from your energy level. But I'm sure as early as 2014, 2013, if you go back and listen, how many people have you seen copying and pasted the way you approach stuff?
Oh yeah. Hella.
And you were early. You were the other side of Chicago, not drill.
Mm-hmm.
A little much older. I mean, I'll put you, and not saying I want to put you in a group, but you, Montana 300. I mean, I'll put you Chance.
Yeah,
you had substance. You had substance. You had substance. And I mean, maybe Chance was earlier than you were, before Chance.
Yeah.
You were before
Chance.
Yeah,
he was bubbling. He was bubbling like around the same time, but he didn't like turn up to maybe like
you're before Chance.
Like a few years after that. So yeah.
And then you see what that has manifested into. And to me, I've never experienced that as a creative. I'm a musician. I'm from Uganda. I've never heard my sound on another artist. Never, ever. And if I ever heard it, I'll never be angry. I'll be like, oh, wow, I inspired somebody. And I'm like, and they pushed it to that level, ascended it to the next level, I'm kind of low key. I want to feel that low key. I want to feel how it feels like you know what I'm talking about. You know those artists I'm talking about that have built off of what you put down as your foundation, and you are still young. You in your early 20s, coming up with this new sound to what it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, this is a big lead up. How do you feel? And how do you feel? First of all.
Well, I'm gonna answer that in two parts. One, I'm gonna tell you how I felt when I first saw it happening, okay. And then I'm gonna tell you how I feel.
OG, and yeah. OG. So, okay, let's go.
Yeah. So like when I first was noticing it, just being young, I'm gonna just speak for myself. When you're young, you want things to go how you want them to go, and that's right. It. So I kind of felt like, damn, like niggas biting me, Joe. Like what? Like you wasn't doing that before I was doing that.
Right.
And you wasn't wearing that before I was wearing that. And you wasn't listening to rock and like saying you wanted to be a rock star and shit before I started. So at first, like I didn't like it. I'm gonna just be honest. I just was like, man, Joe, I gotta just keep evolving because I don't like niggas copying me. That's just how I feel. And then as I matured more and like as I just paid attention to life more and like what's really important, I understood that some people are here for the sake or the reason to inspire other people. And once I started viewing myself as that and just understanding, okay, just because somebody may take this aspect of how you approach this and did it this way and emulated that's not a bad thing, dude.
Yeah.
In fact, you should be thanking them. That's a good thing that someone saw something you did and thought highly of you enough or appreciated how you did it enough to even want to do it. Because just think about you. You were inspired by somebody, right? Think about the artist you fuck with.
Yeah.
Then once I thought about it like that, from an artist standpoint, instead of just like a young kid just being mad about somebody copying you standpoint, it made sense to me. And like now, like it don't bother me at all now. Like, yeah, I like it. Cause the people who know, they know where you got it from. And they know like that I was one of the people that started doing certain things a certain way. And I appreciate it.
You feel like that's a little branch off my tree. You listen to it, you're like, I know where you got that from. I mean, it's beautiful. So my next turn here is, I find Chicago very interesting. As a person living in the Midwest, right? The reason why I find a place like Chicago very interesting is how it's divided into the different zones. Like you from the West Side, there's the South Side, there's, and recently I've been following a lot of Chicago athletes and their stories of how they even went to the different school districts that they went to and how they had to go through a 2-hour bus ride just to escape like gang territories because they come from this neighborhood. Just 2 hours, which is really a 30-minute thing, but they have to do like a 2 hour just to just go through to shake people off through a bus. Is that a real thing? Like, hey, have to.
It's so real that you wouldn't believe it. Like, it's so real to us that we don't even think about it. Like, it just
2-hour drive, which is really 30 minutes. He said it's really 30 minutes, but I have to like escape.
Yeah, it's a fact. Like, you know how some things are so ingrained in your everyday life that you don't think about it? Like you breathing right now, right?
Right.
You're not thinking like, I have to breathe. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, like it's just a part of what you do. And for that example that you just gave me, for a lot of people that I know personally, like it's just what you do. Like, if you have to go through this certain territory that ain't the territory for you to be going through. You got to figure out which route, what bus route, what some people do lifts, some people get carpooled and picked up by homies. Like, it's just a way of life. Like, so yeah, that's a real thing, man.
And these people that were telling these stories are not street people too. They're just from those neighborhoods, and they just don't want to be caught in the interception of that. Like, it kind of low key made me sad to think about. I mean, and the person I'm talking about is Tim Hideaway Sr. And I think I heard him on the podcast. It was the Knucklehead podcast. And I think there's a Chicago dude in the Quentin Richardson from Chicago. And they were talking about how to get where he wanted to go. And I mean, I know Chicago is a big basketball state. I mean, city. I say state, Illinois. But it's a big basketball city. Talking about powerhouses like Simeon. When I was growing up, from even Uganda, some Simeon games would kind of low-key show up on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, big names like Derrick Rose, when Derrick Rose was Derrick Rose. Like,
it was like that.
Chicago was a powerhouse.
I was at one of them championship games. Like, it's a big deal. It was a big deal.
And to me, when I was thinking about Chicago, I always thought it was like New York. It's a big city. And until I came to the United States, and I was like, whoa, well, Chicago is not what you really think Chicago is. You think it's a big city. Yes, it's a big city. But some of these people from like Inglewood, people from this other side, they've probably never been downtown. They're just, it makes me sad to think about it. From what I've grabbed from it is this city that has inspired America, has inspired the world with people like Kanye, people like D-Ray, people like Corey Holcomb, people like, it's a city of talent. It's a city of people like, XVRHLDY and Derrick Rose. I can mention as many, like some of these people that grew up in this city have not been to this other side. They've never seen this other side because they're scared. I'm not scared. I hear about the Cabrini projects when I was growing up. Dog, the plot gets thick. Like, explain to me that as a foreign person, the depth of division in Chicago, which I think is a beautiful city with beautiful history.
Hey, you absolutely correct. It is. It's a beautiful city. Like, I will argue, other than like maybe like a beach town, a beach city, because I like beaches, I like palm trees too. But like, other than like something like that, like we got the best skyline, like we got the best food, we got the best music, like
some of the most talented people in the world from your city.
And
in the
like
world,
any
not
avenue,
in America, world.
Yeah, and it's like consistent, like on the generation to generation.
House music from Chicago.
Yeah, that's a fact. Like, it's just like so unfortunate that due to certain like ordinances and like certain laws that have been like kept in place, and certain things on down to as small as like redlining, like as far as like,
you going there?
Yeah, it's like it get deep, Joe. Like it'll take longer than this podcast to like really get to the root of it. But it's just unfortunate that when I say we, I just mean like Black, brown people. Like, so it's fucked up.
Do you think like the inner city of Chicago has been affected heavily by prison industrial complex by taking the Black man out of the household and letting? Can I keep going, or you already know what I'm talking about?
Without a doubt, like it's without a doubt, yes.
It's been affected. And do you think when the Black man is taken out of the household, the pre-existing organizations that they have labeled as gang units or gangs didn't have the leadership that they should have had because they were just organizations but not gangs?
You said what?
Do you think when the prison industrial complex was spiking and doing what it has to do as a system, pulling the black man out of the household or the man out of the household, these units or these organizations that were put together to protect the projects or protect a block didn't have the organization, didn't have the leadership that they needed because of the incarceration of the black man.
Yeah, it played a part.
Do you think so?
It played an
Talk about the
integral-
GDs, talk about people like Larry Hoover and being taken away from that leadership left, and now you have
played an integral role. Like
you
that's
have soldiers
why,
with no leaders.
yeah, all of those moves were strategic. Like the people who did that, who did those things, that wasn't by accident. Like all of these moves are strategic because with any type of organization, if you cut off the head, there's a good chance that the body is gonna follow. Like it's not guaranteed, but the odds are definitely in favor of it failing. And
I like how you answered. I like how you said that. Like there's a good chance because with good leadership, you always have to prepare another leader because if you're a good leader, you're gonna be knocked off. It's just like that. You gotta groom another leader in case you get knocked off. That's a freaking good ass answer. Because some leaders think they're gonna be you're not gonna be a leader. If you're a good leader, you're not gonna be a good leader forever. It's like the guy who's nice to both sides. You're not gonna do that. You can not be nice to both sides. Somebody's gonna somebody's gonna off you. You have to choose. The radical person lives forever.
And good leaders make more leaders.
Make more lead.
Like,
bro, that's a yes.
That's how.
Yes.
That's how you can or at least that's how I judge. If someone says they are the head of whatever, I'm the head of this. I'm the head of this. Okay. If you were there tomorrow, if you had to go do something, if you had to go on hiatus, would that organization still run as good or even better if you weren't there with whoever else is next in command?
Right.
If they couldn't, could that person that's next in command duplicate this system and make the same organization that's as successful or better?
Right.
If they can't, then you're not as good as a leader as you think.
Absolutely.
But and like I say, and I'm not even saying like the gang leaders that's locked up now or dead or killed now weren't good leaders, because with them being locked up, there were also other initiatives that were put into place too to create even more division and create even a sense of frantic and urgency that led to a lot of our young niggas, and I say meaning I was one of them at one time, like just not really having direction and just all we know is that okay, I'm with these people here and this is what we got to do. Like I ain't really about no unity shit. Like they can take care of what they got to take care of, but me and mine, we got to get what's ours. And just like how I brought up earlier, like red line and things like that. Yeah. Like it just leads to a sense of like all for one mentality. I mean, all for self mentality. Yeah. And once those other initiatives are put into place in combination with getting the leaders out of there, it just the worst kind of trickle down effect that you could even imagine. And for the past 40, 50 years, we've seen it. It's played out on the TV screens across the world. Like I don't even have to tell you about it. You know what's going on here.
Right. Definitely, man. Like I've been a student. I've been an observer of talent from Chicago, from Bernie Mac. I mean, it goes back for me. I mean, because I'm young. I'm 33. I don't want to say like I'm old, but I'm 33. And I mean, it's unfortunate, but I would say R. Kelly was also an inspiration, music-wise, but not.
Yeah.
I mean,
music-wise, yeah.
I mean, we cannot discredit that. You cannot discredit what he did, right? What he did, but as a person, I don't agree. I don't even want because I have just like you, I have a newborn too, so I have a daughter.
Damn, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's lit.
You know, Chicago to me is, you know, my favorite team is the Chicago Bulls. And this relationship started back in 92 with Michael Jordan, and watching, you know, The Last Dance kind of like broke my heart again. I mean, to people watching it outside who are never Chicago Bulls fan, it was entertaining, but to a Bulls fan, that shit broke my heart, because, you know, there were ways to fix that team.
Yeah. Could have did
make
it again.
Stay
We could have
together.
did like 2 more.
If it wasn't for the freaking GM and Scotty Scotty did what he had to do. But like, there was so many things against that team to win in 98. And me, as I've been a Chicago Bulls fan since 92. And I was not even in Chicago. I was in another continent because I became a fan after Barcelona Olympics.
Okay.
So the 92 Olympics, because people don't know how big Jordan was. Jordan was like, who's this guy who's gathering all this? And he's black like me. And these white people are like bowing. I'm like, no, this is my favorite. The same way I like Mike Tyson. That's the same way people are like praising him. I'm like me, he looks like me, he has my complexion. So outside the US, Michael Jordan was a figure, bro. Even in the US, he was a figure. He sold shoes. But I became a fan of the Bulls. I was supporting that team. And I didn't understand why they didn't, the band didn't come together again for 99. I didn't understand it. I was a kid. I mean, I was coming into my teenage years. I was turning like 12, 13, whatever. I didn't understand it. Now I'm watching it as a grown-up. I'm now pissed. As a Chicago native, what does The Last Dance make you feel? Pissed.
Literally a roller coaster of emotions, Joe. Because when the Bulls, like when they was going on their run, I was old enough to know what was going on, but I wasn't like as able to interpret it as I am now. But I still remember those emotions. Like, you may not remember exactly why something happened, but you remember how you felt when it happened.
Yes.
And you remember how other people were feeling when it happened. And like during that run, man, I was little, but I'm just looking around like, these grown people are going crazy.
Dude, I was so mad. I felt a lump in my throat seeing the Bulls not sign him back. When I saw him with the Wizards, I stopped watching ball for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that was tough.
I'm like, what the heck? It didn't look right. It doesn't look right.
Yeah, it did.
And I don't know why I held Michael Jordan to that level as a kid, but I'm a kid. I need a superhero. That was my hero. That was my hero. Like, for real. Like, and until Iverson showed up, and I was like, you know what? F Michael Jordan. He wears baggy jeans.
Hey, yeah, he be coming with the wide leg.
He just wearing some crazy ass
wide leg licks. But yeah, though, I felt everything, like the happiness, sadness, melancholy, disgrace, joy. Like, that documentary, it hit every emotion.
Yo, the Bulls could have had like at least seven.
And the season that they could have done it, because it was like a lockout or something that season.
Yeah.
So it would have been a shortened season. So it would have played in their favor. Like, you got Asian players. That's not really trying to play the whole.
Yeah, they're trying to get those minutes in. Yeah.
So,
yo, that shit got me sad. I was like, really? This is the reason why is because this gym had the little man syndrome, whatever they were saying at that time. I mean, it's a documentary. It's always skewed to the person telling the story.
Yeah.
But as a Bulls fan, I was like, it was a small problem to me. It was a problem of communication and ego. It was a lot of ego. But that's what the documentary portrayed. As a person who's a fan, course, Michael Jordan didn't want to retire, but he didn't want to play basketball without Phil. He didn't want to do that.
And he made that clear.
Yeah, and if your guy, your top guy says, I want Phil, you know what you do? Just let Phil rock.
Yeah.
You winning, and and Phil let you know this is my last season, and you still won. That shows your GM, like, really, you got the formula here. This is the formula.
Yeah.
That documentary really made me sad. Like, it really made me sad. And I'm not even from Chicago, but I would empathize for somebody that grew up around that generation. And when my friends from Chicago, because I went to college, and a few hoopers came to my college from Chicago, and they let me know Michael Jordan downed the crime rate. Whenever he played, people were not getting shot. People were not doing, like, everything stopped in the city.
That's incredible, Joe. And they telling you the truth. Like,
and I'm like,
when the Bulls was on, everybody was watching the game.
People are not doing nothing, like, and that now made me feel like, yo, really? And that's a city that really needs hope. Like, Chi-Town needed hope. I mean, still today, man, like, because it's a new breed of young dudes out there in the streets. There's a new breed with new rules too. I don't think Derrick Rose is he's gonna be the person who's gonna stop everything in Chicago, but he was close to it. He was close to it.
Yeah, we was close that year.
It was close to it.
Yeah.
But my bad. I had to pull it back from sports. That's my team, man. I love the Bulls with all my heart.
Yeah.
With all my heart.
They the greatest team, man. Like,
man.
Niggas could say, like, well, this team that won more championships. All right, yeah, you're right. But it wasn't like them.
It's my team. That's my team.
They was different.
Let's talk about your body of work.
Okay, which one?
Okay. Let's talk about your inception, your first project that you put out. Okay. And that was 2010?
29, so, yeah.
2010?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sound about right.
2009, 2010. Correct.
Probably 10.
10.
I don't know exactly, but that sounded about right. We close enough.
Okay. When you're coming up, because let me tell you this. As an artist, my first body of work took forever.
Mm-hmm.
It took like 3 or 5 of my friends saying, yo, it's ready. To me saying, I don't know. To somebody saying, I know these avenues where we could put it out. We had Daft Biff. We had Live Mixtape. We had all these different. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Let's go through all those emotions for you to have a full project out there.
The first one.
And also let's revisit that. Let's have a 2-part question. Mm-hmm. First time you put it out to now when you listen to it and the growth.
Let me look at it now so I could even try to get a better vibe of how I was feeling. Let me pull this up. My first one was Need to Know.
Need to Know, okay.
Need to Know.
What year was that? 2010?
I got the wrong year on here. I got 14, but that's just because that's what I downloaded it on my phone. But I don't know. You probably right. The emotions. So you want to know like the emotions I felt like when this first like was going out?
Did you feel it was ready? I mean, I thought it was okay. I'll not talk about myself. Let me let you do your thing.
It definitely was. Like you say, it took some close friends of mine to tell me like, all right, man, come on. Like, you could put it out. Come on. Because I just was being so overly critical about the track list and the order. Like, because for this one, for Need to Know, I had recorded, because I'm the type of artist, like, for projects, it's very rare that I just record the exact amount that I want for the project. But for this one, I think I recorded maybe like 20-something songs, maybe 30. And the final track list ended up being 9 songs.
Nice.
And that was just help from them, like telling me like, you don't need, like, it don't need to be long. Trim the fat. It don't need to be long. Cause I'm like, no, they gotta hear every style I got. This is my first shit. I want to come out. I want to make sure they know I can rap. I want them to know I got a vibe. If they want to hear some slow shit, I got that. I got this. They like, Joe, like, what you have now is concise, the order is good, and it's solid, bro. Like, just put it out.
So
And
when you put it out, did you believe in them, or you were like, I mean, F it. This is my council of advisors. Why not?
yeah, I believe
Believed in them?
'cause I
didn't believe in my
surround myself
guys.
with yes men.
I didn't believe in my guys.
You just thought they just wanted you to do it.
No, because the reason why I didn't believe in them is because they were not musicians.
Okay, yeah, that make a difference.
And in that situation, I was in my head. I was not really a musician. I was an experimental musician.
It was your
And
first one. Yeah.
I didn't have the big brother to put the shoulder around me to like let me know like, yo, you're doing the right thing. It's just a bunch of friends, you know. I bought some Pro Tools and you know we just working on some stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like I just always want to ask the first project, how did you feel? Of course, for me, it was probably one of the most traction I ever got on my project. But in my head, I was like, I didn't put in the effort that I was supposed to put in, because in my head, I was making people happy. I was, you know, at that time, we were formatting. Nowadays, you don't format. Back then, you had to have a street song, you had to have a club song, you had to have for the girls. You were just formatting in your head. So you sequencing in your head how you're going to approach a project. And I didn't know what I was doing. Listening to your first project, you already had a project before that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you never put it out.
It wasn't.
Listen to my first project, listen to your first project. Those are two different things. And growth. I could see that you already grown.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fact. I can admit that.
Yeah. And I felt like when I was putting out mine, it was because it was crowd inspired. I mean, anyways, that's another story of how we put that out. With yours, when I listened to your first project, I could see this guy's gonna get signed. I could see this guy's gonna be he's gonna be part of a big conglomerate. Be it Young Money, be it any big group, because I could feel like you're a piece, you're a puzzle piece, you're a player. I could tell that from you know, there's some people that you just hear something like, I get it. Did you ever feel that energy around you, or you were like, you just one of those guys like you didn't even know that you were that dope? Like,
yeah, I did. Like, I know. I just knew it was a matter of time. Like, it wasn't if, it was when for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just felt it, and it wasn't even like a situation where I wasn't even nervous when I put it out, honestly, because I knew that whatever happened, it just was going to make me want to go harder the next time.
Yeah.
Like, whether it got the reviews that I thought it was going to get, or whether what my homies told me it was going to do, or what, I just knew whatever happened is going to make me want to go harder than this one. And I know my next project is going to be better than this one. And that's what ended up happening. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't nervous though. I was just more relieved than anything just to get it out. Because I want people to hear me, and I wanted them to hear me now. So yeah, it was more relief than anything. Relief and excitement.
So fast forwarding from that to you being on XXL, for you being on Pitchfork, or you being on the Source magazine, how unreal or how I need to be here type of mind state did you have? Did you feel like, because for me, I'll distract myself from this situation. I was on Hip Hop DX and I had imposter syndrome. I was like, okay, I don't need to be, you know, when you feel like you get to a point where like, okay, I don't know how I got here. Like, but really and truly, I was one of the people that got on Hip Hop DX. I didn't pay. it was a writer that seeked me out.
I mean, it was the real deal.
Yeah, it was a writer that seeked me out that put an editorial and shared my project Kid from Zion, or song Kid from Zion, which was on my Drinks and Conversation, and put me there. But even with that, I felt imposter syndrome because in my head, I felt like I wasn't ready for you being on these big publications at that time. And it's different years, maybe, you know, but still, these are huge publications that could catapult you. Because me and you, we come from the blog era. We come from the days of like, yo, you on the blog? Hey, Nick, you know, you just, because the radio never really effed with people like us.
Nah.
They still don't.
Nah, still don't.
Still
Radio late. It's like an antique down there. The shit that they get like already been hot in the streets for,
right.
You know.
So a person that was as big as you, did you ever feel like, yeah, I belong here and I need more? Or did you feel like I belong here, but I think I need to go back to the drawing board and work a little more because these are huge publications? Did you ever feel that overwhelmness?
How did I feel? It was, I felt surprised because of the way that I was contacted to like do interviews for certain publications, or because like I would never just be expecting to be placed somewhere. Right. It's always like somebody I wake up one morning and have 40 text messages, like screenshots of something, of an article, of a publication post or something. And I just, like, that's how I always find out. It's never like, all right, I'm gonna submit this to XYZ magazine and they'll probably post me, they may not, but if they do, I'll be ready for it. It was never like that for any of those. Maybe, no. Oh, only one it was like that for was Complex, because they premiered my next tape. They premiered it. Yeah. But other than that, like, imagine leaving from a job that you don't even fucking like working at, and you get a phone call and it's a writer like, hey, I worked for XVRHLDY, or you get an email like, I work for such and such, would you mind doing an interview? I heard this, and I'm interested in doing a write-up on you. Like, what? Yeah, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was just more how I was approached that shocked me. And it always made me feel like, okay, I need to do this again. I need to do more.
Okay, so my next question here is, you had a lot of publications do write-ups on you and put your music or your projects out there, right?
Yeah. You
built a huge underground fan base that really messed with your core sound and what you do.
Yeah.
You as XVRHLDY. Do you feel you could have done things a little different? Okay, now this is all based on, I mean, we talk about hindsight, but let's talk about revisiting steps, because I won't lie to you, where you were from and when you were popping, and you still popping, but when your city was popping, like I remember 2013 to about 2016, artists like you, Lil Bibby, Lil Durk, and I'm not saying you sound the same, but there was a resurgence of Chicago music. We talk about Vic Mensa, we talk about Chance the Rapper, and you in that mix. You know you in that mix.
Yeah, for sure.
Is
my little nigga?
Yeah, is there a way you could have approached that catapult that you guys had at that moment and acted differently to capitalize that moment? Or you feel like you did what you had to do to get where you guys are right now? Because the whole world was looking at y'all.
Yeah. It's a fact. The only thing, cause like I believe
Chief Keef too.
Oh yeah, for sure. He changed that's another story.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's solidified for sure. He's legendary forever. But I think about this question that you asked me often, actually. Just because I get younger dudes who come to me now, even still, and like ask me like, how should they maneuver through, and how should they do certain things, and what advice would you give me to do this? Because I want to do what you did. I want to get where you at, type shit. So like, the only thing that I would say that I would have liked to maybe seen me do differently was to be more vocal and be more outgoing. To be more outgoing as far as like talking to people like at like networking basically.
Right.
Like I'm not the best self-promoter. So like I'm not the type that's just gonna be like, hey, I rap, I do music, and I'm this. Like, I've never been good at like just striking up random conversations with people at events and shit. Cause that's just not how I am. Like I be chilling. So
me and you
I would have
both
liked to see that. You know what I'm saying. I would have liked to see what other doors I could have knocked down by doing that. One, and two, just release more material. I would have liked to see how
you released a lot of material, bro.
No,
I mean it's relative though. It's relative.
Yeah, like, because even if you look back at my discography, the first two projects, Need to Know 2, Luna, were both, I think, a year apart.
Yeah. Like
1 year, then I dropped that the next year. And then there was maybe like 3 years before my next project.
Yeah, from here it shows that you dropped one after Trill.
Right.
Trill, sorry, say Trill.
Right.
Trill. And then after that 4 years, and then you drop Need to Know 3.
Right. So I would have liked to see what type of momentum I could have built to if I would have dropped like one every year, just to see, you know, because I've noticed that as music has progressed, as music has done this, people's attention spans have done this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it gets like shorter and more like, if it's not something that's just viral damn near,
yeah,
it's out of your head. And
we're in a microwave generation, man.
Yeah. But I will say though, I'm happy at the route that I took because it was more true to the type of person I am. Because like, I'm not the type of person that's just gonna say a bunch of shit and hope that I'm not just gonna talk a lot and hope you like one of the things that I say and just take that, because then I wasted a whole bunch of speech for no reason. Like, I'm of the school of thought, I don't like to talk unless I have something to say. And so that's why I'm also pleased with the route I took, because it was more true to who I am. Like, I like to take my time and craft projects. Like, if you listen to my projects, you can hear like every project has its own ecosystem damn near. Like, it all sounds like you're at a place, at a point in time, you know? And for me, at least, I don't like to rush that. And yeah, so, but it would have been cool to see the other way.
No, X, your projects are clean. Right? You know, like the mixing, the sounding, the production, the vocals, the way you track stuff, the way your conviction when you say stuff. That's another thing I want to talk about before we close this out. X, I want to give you flowers while you're still here, bro. You are truly one of the dopest artists I have heard. And all my listeners, please check out XVRHLDY, because this man truly, listening to his voice and his voice control, listen to his words, listen to his beat choice, let me know that this guy's an artist. And his songs, weirdly, like you said, there's a thread on each song that leads to another song that he's doing. It's just weirdly like it's a continuum of, I don't know how. I don't. And I asked him, "Are you doing this intentional or is this an accident?" And he's like, "Yo, bro, it's intentional." When I do this next thing, I'm thinking about what I did last, and I'm gonna add a different element. If you really f with me, you're gonna still feel like, okay, he's finishing what he just ended last time.
It's like esoteric knowledge.
Yeah, and to me as a creative, it's always a breath of fresh air when I listen to artists like yourself. Another thing I really appreciate about you is how honest you are to who you are. You know, a lot of us artists sometimes spread ourselves thin just to meet a requirement of viewership or audience. Sometimes we over elasticate and tear the reach. You know, sometimes you pull yourself too far and rip yourself apart because you're not yourself. And the thing is, artists do that, but audience can know that you're not being true to you in the way you move, in the way you promote, the way you roll out, the way you do stuff. People can see through that, and I like that. You're like, you know what? I'm not gonna do what I don't like. I like that personality. I'm not gonna do what I don't like. Yeah. I'm not gonna do what's not me. And something that I can relate with you is I've been isolating and doing the quarantine before COVID-19. I mean, I just stay home. I'm a family man, you know. I just stay home, you know, just do what I do. I just stay home, create my little studio atmosphere, and create. And that's also been like the way you said it. It's been to my downfall because I don't network, I don't rub shoulders, because I feel like in the first place, there's never true friends in this music industry stuff. I mean, they're friends, but true friends meaning if I'm not talking to you about something that will benefit you, you're never gonna, you know, it's never, you don't wish me wrong or harm, but you don't really have true intentions of listening. So I understand that, and I understood that early. So I never really used that networking approach real right. And that's why, to me, as an artist, why I relate to you, I've had 4 projects where I didn't have any features, which is weird. And I told them the reason why I don't have features is because I want people to be in my studio or their studio and we can talk before we even make music. Let's have a conversation so I can see whether you're weird or like. I'm not saying like.
No, I give it.
I want to cross-examine you, but
I'm the same way.
I don't want to make a song and then when we on stage, I just have to feel like I have to be there just to collect the check. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could understand where you're coming from because just like you, myself, I'm an introvert. I don't know if you're an introvert, but
I would venture to say, yeah, I'm closer to that end of the spectrum than the other.
I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert that has extrovert tendencies, and I know how to turn that switch on and off when I want to. The only problem is sometimes you could live outside that spectrum that you're allocating your energy, that sometimes you lose your energy because you're over trying, and people can see that you're over trying.
So it come off cheesy.
Like, come off cheesy.
People can see
corny. Like, you really don't want to be here. You don't want to be on this meeting, but you're trying. You're smiling and shaking hands, but you really don't want to be here.
Yeah. And then
you're on your phone. You're on your phone, looking at your phone, like you're not really in here. You're not engaging.
And that leads to more issues because it's just a snowball effect. Because if you overdoing it, you go to an event that you don't want to be at. People, they see that you don't want to be there. You are on your phone, you say you're not engaged. Then like somebody says the wrong thing to you, now it's a problem. You know, like it's just a snowball effect. And instead of like being in a situation like that or overdoing like shit like that, I'd rather just stay true to who I am. I feel like I will never have anything that is not meant for me.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. One thing that we are going to do here at Lessons Learned along the way, we're going to give you your flowers, bro. You wanted the illest. You wanted the dopest. I'm a person about voice and conviction when it comes to a track. And bro, you are in my top 10 ever.
Right.
When I hear your voice, I know it's your voice. I don't know how tall you are. I don't know how short you are, but that voice, you have a monster voice, and you know that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when I don't want to rap after you because your energy on your voice is kind of scary. Because it's a God-given thing. Some people have that voice. I don't have it, man. My stuff, I have to really like work on my, like I have to, there's something called a rapper voice. But bro, your voice and how it translates on a track, ridiculous.
Love, man. Much respect.
People like you, DMX, Ja Rule, Bon B. For me, I put you in that category, and I know my listeners are gonna be like, "Yo, he's tripping." Go listen to him. Go listen to him, and see how his voice. First of all, his voice will capture you, and the next thing you hear is the words that he's talking about, and the stuff that he's talking about. Because some people are just gifted with something that you cannot find, and you know that X. That voice tears through, and I come alive in the nighttime. Like, yo, dog.
Yeah.
Man. Before we conclude this, I have a few questions for you, okay? What's the last book you read?
I'm bouncing between two. 100 Side Hustles by Gilla. I always get his last name wrong. Chris Gillibo, I think is his last name. And also The Tipping Point by
Malcolm Gladwell?
Yeah.
That's my shit.
Yeah. So those two.
What's the last album that you listened to point A to point last without skipping?
The last album that I ran through straight?
Yeah.
What have I been listening to? I look at my iTunes. Who did I just listen to? I just played Lil Durk album all the way through.
Oh, okay. That's fire. I like Lil Durk.
His most recent joint. And I've been listening to the Griselda niggas a lot too.
Ooh, Benny and Conway and Westside Gun.
Yeah, and Stove God Cooks.
Stove God Cooks. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. I just ran through his all the way through too, no skips.
Okay. What have you been doing during your downtime, aka quarantine life?
Trying to develop new skills. I just taught myself how to do video editing. So like I got Adobe Premiere. Well, I didn't teach myself. I bought a online course. So like I'm decent with video editing. So I'm gonna be doing my videos now.
Word.
And I just put together a home studio too, which
nice.
I should have been done. I'm a dumbass. But so like I'm learning how to track my own vocals and all type. I got new material coming.
Word.
And of course, like with the shorties, with my little ones.
Word. All right, this is the last portion or the last section of this episode or this podcast. We're gonna ask the guest. So, what would you like to share? What would be your best lessons learned along the way right now, as XVRHLDY right now?
Think of your dreams and think of yourself as a plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Water your dreams, water yourself every day to foster growth. Whatever growth looks like to you, water yourself, water your dreams every day. And be rooted in solutions, not rooted in excuses.
Facts.
And everything else is going to happen how it's supposed to. Your roots need to be rooted in solutions. It's always a way to get something done. It's always a way to get something figured out. You just got to do it.
Facts.
People that make excuses don't. They just don't.
Facts.
They don't do shit.
Facts. Facts. Ladies, gentlemen, we've had XVRHLDY here at Lessons Learned along the way, ATW, and it's been a great episode. Thank you for sitting in, listening, virtually watching us, people on YouTube, listenership, viewership. We appreciate you. I am not a podcaster. I'm just a transitioning creative. And I will say bye, I guess, or I'll bid adieu. And that's it for today. Peace and love. Have a great one.